Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe, ready from Ready's Rise. We're back here at Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete, and guess what? I have that one car that just brings so much performance, but yet drives under everybody's radar. Is this vehicle right here? This is a 2019 Porsche 911 Turbo S. But before we get into this 991.2 chassis 911 Turbo S, let's talk about what's going on here. So 991.2 means that this is a refresh of the 991 chassis 911. And those are different chassis codes. They go from 963, 964. I mean, lots of different chassis codes. This particular generation, 991. And with it being a 2019.2. This is the last year of the 991.2 chassis until 2020. Now, when you go Turbo S, you're going full tilt boogie when it comes to turbocharged powered 911s. And it's crazy because the 911 Turbo first appeared in the 1970s. It was called the 930 Turbo. And those early 911 Turbos were given the nickname the Widowmaker because they were single turbocharged, flat six engined 911s. And it was old school turbo where you had nothing until the boost kicked in around 4,000 RPM and you got that power pack punch. If you lift throttle, chop throttle through a corner, you're going around and around and around off your favorite twisty road or your racetrack. Well, guess what? With this car, it's more of a pussycat. You got all-wheel drive, rear-wheel steer, and plenty of power. But what I want to find out is this the perfect supercar killer? Unassuming to the untrained eye, is this the one that really will blow the doors off those supercars? Why don't we go ahead, let's dive in our Turbo S Cabriolet and find out. Right off the bat, like I said, with this generation, some of the body lines were a little softer. When they went to the 992 Turbo and Turbo S, things got a little bit more harder edged on the style, especially up front. Very, very rounded and smooth. You have that traditional round oval shaped headlight design. LED daytime running lamps go all the way around. LED headlights. Working our way down, you have your LED turn signals and massive corner air intakes to bring all that cool air in. Now, what I like about this particular one is that you do have the painted lower front lip splitter that's been added. And as we come across the front nose, you see that traditional 911 shape. You have more functionality in the center. There is an active aero air dam that drops down at speed. And that's one of the things is that this car has a lot of that tech that some other brands are finally getting in the modern era. They've been having this technology on the 911 for quite a few years when it comes to active aero and all-wheel drive. But the face of it is unmistakable 911. I just think that especially in this metallic black, it's very stealthy. If this was painted Python green, it'd probably get a little bit more attention to the untrained eye. Me being a sports car lover and a car lover overall, I know what this is. 911 Turbo S is no joke. Now, as we rise up, you got that Porsche crest from Stuttgart, Germany. Love the colors. And then everything just clean design, timeless design 911. Now, when we come around the bend, what do we work with wheel and tire setup? When you go Turbo S, you're automatically going to get PCCBs, the Porsche carbon ceramic brake rotors with those massive Brembo Twinkie yellow 6-piston calipers. You'll notice we have center locking wheels on the 911 Turbo S. 20-inch wheels up front, 21-inch wheels out back, and these are forged aluminum. Very thin V-spoke design with the machined aluminum. Tires up front are 245 on the width, 35 series sidewall, and of course we have that Porsche adaptive suspension management system. Plus this one is optioned with the front axle lift, so you could actually raise or lower the front of the vehicle so that you don't scratch anything on the nose when you're parking it or pulling into your home. But let me know what you think about the style of the wheel. Good looking wheel. And of course, when you see the yellow, anytime you see the yellow calipers, if somebody didn't custom paint them, If they're yellow from the factory, that means it has the carbon ceramics, which comes standard on the 911 Turbo S. Now, as we come down the side, everything painted that sparkly metallic black, even around the window frame for the windshield. You got our 911 Turbo S badging on the side. And one of the things with the 911 is that over the generations, it definitely has grown. If you park this next to, say, a 1988 Porsche 911 Turbo, much smaller car, plus back then, it pretty much was only the 911 Turbo that got the flared, wider fenders. That made it stand out a little bit more. Now, with the top down, I wish that they would give you more of a speedster look with a tonneau cover. I'm not a big fan of the cloth top exposed like that, but you do have those massive softball size openings to bring air for that twin turbo flat six. Out back, same story. Like I said, forged wheels, 21 inches in diameter. The Twinkie yellow, you got 4 piston Brembos on the back. Those rotors are over 15 inches in diameter. We got an electronic limited slip diff. The all-wheel drive, it's rear-wheel drive base, and it sends power to the front wheels when needed. And you do have rear-wheel steer, which is standard on this vehicle. All-wheel drive and rear-wheel steer are standard on the Turbo and Turbo S. Now, when we get to the back, you're going to have the other part of the equation of the active aero. And you'll notice I actually have the spoiler up a little bit. This isn't the highest setting, but it will raise and lower depending on speed. Love the way you got that ducktail kick up that is stationary, and then the rest of it will raise and lower. Also, when we come to the front, you'll notice how air will come in to this midsection for that twin turbocharged flat six. And then when we get to the back, love the way they do the taillights on the 991 generation of 911. You got the Porsche 911 Turbo S badge, so nobody's gonna be confused. And then you got that quad tip exhaust. Simple rear diffuser, quad tip exhaust, nice and fat. I like a juicy rear end, I really do. You just wanna bite into it. But why don't we go ahead, I'll try to lift the engine cover and see what the engine is in this 911 Turbo S. All right, guys, just like all the other modern 911 Porsches, you can't see the engine. Even if I had an older 911, you could see part of the engine, but usually the intercooler, the single intercooler for the single turbocharger was massive. But Steven might be able to swing in and show you the cooling fans, the air intake for that 3.8 liter twin turbo flat six. It produces 580 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. It's bolted to a 7-speed PDK. Get ready for the supercar numbers. 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, quarter mile in 10.5 at 130 miles an hour. Think about that. If you owe Dom Toretto a 10-second car, you could give him this 911 Turbo S. Top speed, 203 miles per hour. MPG is actually not bad. 19 in the city, 24 on the highway, and the vehicle, even though it's a cabriolet, weighs 3,736 pounds, which may seem like a lot, but for our convertible in the modern era, it really isn't as heavy as you think. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're in it to win it inside this 2019 911 Turbo S. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, this has my name written all over it. I'm gonna trade in my 401k, get my cash out, and I want one of these. How much is it? This particular one, the way that it's spec'd, and it's spec'd pretty high, is listed at $203,000. But let's see what you get when you dial 911 Turbo S on your phone. To the door panels. Love the extended leather throughout the whole door panel. That's all leather. contrast stitching. It's got the carbon fiber interior package, no gloss black around the switchgear, and we even have the premium upgraded sound system with a nice German sausage holder, and then you have your Twinkie box in the back portion. I'll show you how that works when you come to the driver's side. Going from the door panel to the dash, full leather throughout. It has the extended leather. Love the stitching. Carbon fiber. 991 still has the cup holders built in. You're not drinking. You're not drinking in my 911 Turbo S, that's for sure. But I love how smooth and clean that is. Slide on in. Of course, we got the Sport Chrono clock up top. That's a stopwatch and it's a clock. Working your way down, you got your 7-inch infotainment system. It is dated, but it works very well, and I like the way it's integrated. Full touchscreen. It does the job just fine. Let me throw it into reverse for you. Backup camera's clear as freaking day. It's almost like I took my eyeball, ripped it out of my head, and stuck it on the back of the car. That's how clear it is. You do have a CD player. Don't see those very often. Get out the Pearl Jam. Get out the Soundgarden. Go all in grunge, of course, Nirvana. STP, baby. All the real analog switches and gears. You could bring up your navigation. It's got the optional navigation. It's got dual climate, and it has the heated seats and ventilated seats, 3 pieces a piece. 3 stages a piece there. I'm gonna put on my ventilator. This guy is gonna control your 7-speed PDK. 911 embossed there. You have your switch gear to turn on your aero, your adaptive suspension, your axle lift, and then everything is here controlled for your convertible top, the carbon fiber all the way around, the leather. Open it up, you got wireless charging and a USB-A, and then you got the 18-way seats with the Porsche badge, all the leather, the stitching, full power assist for the passenger, full power assist for the driver, and of course you got your 2 rear seats for a munchkin or 2. But why don't you go ahead, get your butt over here. I want to show you behind the wheel of this 911 Turbo S. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings. The carbon fiber sill plate with the Turbo S name that illuminates. Pedal box right out of a 911 race car. Nice large dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. Seats, because they're the 18-way adjustable, very comfortable. They have some bolstering, nothing too crazy. Even with the top up, you got plenty of room. Obviously, you put the top down, you got even more headroom. Duh. Steering wheel, the leather. I love the way they notch out everything very nicely with the aluminum style trim. You have your rotary dial here for your different modes. Sport Plus is the way we're gonna go. And then you press the button to get 20 seconds of overboost. Can't wait to do that in on throttle. Metal paddles behind the wheel to go up and down the 7-speed PDK, and it is an electric tilting and telescoping wheel. What I like about the 991 is the last generation of the most analog gauges. You got your analog tach in the center, your digital gauge cluster on the right, analog fuel gauge, coolant gauge, speedometer, and of course oil pressure and oil temp. This one does have the extended leather even on your steering column. That tells you how option up this is. Now there is a front mounted trunk. You could put a couple carry-ons in it. Big deal. If you're ready, I'm ready. Strap yourself in. We're going on throttle in this 911 Turbo S. All right, guys, we're inside this 2019 911 Turbo S. I have it in Sport Plus mode. Shifter is pulled over to my leg. That's gonna allow me to manually shift with the paddles. And if you're ready, I'm ready. We're gonna do some launch control. Left foot on the brake, right foot on throttle. Here we go, on throttle. Nice. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Listen to the music. I'll be honest. I wish that it had a little bit more sound, especially being a Turbo S. Like, let it go a little bit louder. I know that when you turbocharge engines, especially 2 of them, it actually quiets the exhaust. But you would think they would allow some type of active valve technology there to just let her sing a little bit more. But I guess that's another reason why this car is driving under the radar, is because it doesn't stand out in any which way, except where it really stands out is performance, because it is wickedly fast and very deceiving. You ready? On throttle, here we go! Boom, boom, boom! The PDK is really the master class of all dual clutch transmissions. It makes you understand why every brand tries to mimic Porsche with their transmissions, whether they be not PDKs, but dual clutch transmissions or not. They try to shift as fast as this gearbox, and it does. It's lightning quick both up and down the gears, and that's whether you're driving it and shifting yourself, or you're allowing it to shift manually, automatically, the car itself. You have your active aero with the top down. There's not a lot of buffeting inside the cabin, which is really nice. I just want a little bit more sound. On throttle, here we go! Pulls like a freight train. On the brakes. Yee-hoo! Rear wheel steer, all-wheel drive. God! And it's like, if you know what you're doing behind the wheel of a performance car, this thing just communicates so well. It gets the power to the ground so well. I mean, it's just unbelievably one of those cars that will just melt your brain on how well they perform. It makes you just say, what? Over and over again in your head. We gotta do launch control one more time. You ready? On throttle! You don't need to spend money and go to Walt Disney World. Save the money, put it towards a car like this, and you have your own amusement park whenever you want it. And there's no lines or sweaty people on top of you, unless that's your thing. We gotta go one more time. You ready? On throttle! Those Porsche carbon ceramic brake rotors shed the speed so well. Oh yeah! She loves to dance. She loves to party. And you just give her more and more throttle, man. God, this thing is unfreaking believable. The technology, the engineering, the power. It makes you see why or how Porsche is so successful, because they've taken all that they've done in sports car racing and they've brought it into their production vehicles. That's what makes their cars so good. And that's what makes them even better. And yes, I know you can go get a convertible Z06 for a lot cheaper and blah, 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 blah. There's just something about this car that's mesmerizing. Unbelievable, just unbelievable. I'm just gonna shut up for a second.
why being a car enthusiast is so wonderful. And I'm just so glad to be able to share it with you. But we gotta wrap it up before I wind up locked up in this Porsche 911 Turbo S. So I'll see you back at Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete very, very shortly.
All right, guys. After I was able to reconnect my brain to my eyeballs after going on throttle, here I am to present to you, hey, what a day in every way with this Porsche 911 Turbo S Cabriolet. Got to thank Miro and the rest of the team at Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete getting us access to this supercar killer. Let me know what you think. Are you on board with me? Is this the ultimate supercar killer? And you don't stick out like a sore thumb? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Razor Rights family. Got to give it up to Stephen Flood. He was able to capture the launch of this vehicle perfectly in the viewfinder. And I think he's going to rewatch that launch overnight before he goes to bed so he has sweet dreams. So thank you, Stephen, for all that you're doing. Just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.